Can elections really change the course of a country's history? Ask the Russians. For them, elections mean more of the same, or perhaps worse. They've had one leader for over 2 decades, and his obsession with the Great Rus, or the erstwhile Russian Empire, has dragged an entire continent into war. Russia invaded Ukraine on the 24th of February, a needless war if there ever was one. It has dragged on for 4 months and dragged the entire world into crises. And you know what? This may just be the beginning. Because Putin seems bent on recreating the Russian Empire. His latest warning is to other ex-Soviet states. He is threatening action against them. We'll tell you all about it. But first, let's look at where the current war is going, the war in Ukraine. Where is it headed? When will it end? This question was posed to NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg. Do you know what he said? He said the Ukraine war could go on for years. Nobody knows when it could end, when it would end. And then he said, we need to be prepared for it to last for years. As far as assessments go, it's vague to say the least. But here's another question. If this war is going to go on for years, what does the NATO plan to do in the meantime? Stoltenberg wants the military alliance, NATO, to continue supporting Ukraine, even if the support comes at a huge economic and energy cost. But are NATO allies prepared to go that far? Because this war has opened a new front. It's called energy. Europe is at war with its energy provider. Russia provides more than 40% of Europe's natural gas. Russian energy giant Gazprom has already reduced supplies to Germany and Italy. Come winter, the heaters will be turned on. Europe will need more gas, and Russia may not oblige. Italy has warned its people. It says there is a possibility of restricted gas use this winter. Germany, too, is gearing up for a gas shortage. The country is trying to fill its gas storage capacity. And after that, it plans to compensate by burning more coal. So it's a long, cold winter ahead for Europe. Now, couple this with the economic crises we were talking about. The rising cost of living, the rising cost of essentials, a prolonged war is only going to exacerbate all these problems. A lot has been done to try and end this war. From sanctions to peace talks, at least 3 rounds of peace talks, everything has failed so far. More than 4,500 civilians have died, more than 5,500 have been injured, some 14 million people have fled their homes, and now NATO says it could go on for years. The front line has moved to Severodonetsk. It's an industrial city in Luhansk. Authorities in Ukraine, in fact, say that Russia is carrying out round-the-clock drone strikes. So what's next? Vladimir Putin is threatening to invade other Soviet states. The Russian president was recently speaking at St. Petersburg. He said, and I quote, "What is Soviet Union? This is historic Russia." And this is Putin's reading of history. He said this after Kazakhstan refused to acknowledge Donetsk and Luhansk as independent. Russia recognizes Donbass as independent, but it is not convinced about the independence of other ex-Soviet territories. Reports say Putin is planning to contest the independence of former Soviet states. A couple of days ago, a Russian lawmaker spilled the beans. He said Moscow will try to repeal its recognition of former Soviet states. Listen to that carefully. Moscow will try to repeal its recognition of former Soviet states, meaning Russia will challenge the independence of countries like Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. This, Moscow hopes, will revoke their NATO protection. You see, the NATO Charter does not allow disputed territories to be part of the alliance. 3 former Soviet states are currently members of the NATO. They may now be on Putin's hit list. Earlier, the Russian president declared it was his destiny to return and fortify territories. He started this week by threatening Lithuania. Russia said it could take measures to protect its national interests. Does this sound familiar? It should, because Putin had used the very same phrase before invading Ukraine. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.